Well, I'm out here digging some trenches to install some French drain and some solid pipe, some solid corrugated and some perforated. Uh, I'll line that with some geotextile fabric and put a couple of pipes in there. I'm going to run some gutter pipe into it. The gutter pipe will be going into the solid pipe, and I'll have a solid perforated pipe going down here. Water comes out of this bank, and I have a little pump down there right now, and I pump it out over there. I got a drain in there. It goes into a drain behind that wall, but it comes here too. So I'm going to put it in a French drain right here, and when I get about this point, it'll switch to a solid wall, a solid corrugated pipe. Then I'll have another solid corrugated pipe in there handling my gutter water. And they'll go down there. I'm digging that trench with my Harbor Freight Backhoe, and I pick up the dirt with my Kubota. I don't have a backhoe on it yet. I may get one eventually, but that little Harbor Freight does a pretty fair job. And the good thing about it is you can get it in places and positions where I could never get this tractor if it had a backhoe. There's the pipe where the comes behind that brick wall's coming, and right now it's just emptying into this big hole. There was a big tree here, and I dug it out, and it just seems to be the collection point for all the water. I have water that just, underground water comes out of the ground there, and up there near that little mound, and it just drains down. It's just nonstop. It drains pretty much all year round. It used to just meander on across through the woods, and in the wintertime it's worse because your groundwater comes to the surface more in the wintertime, and all that was muddy. So I was going to fill this up, and I said, well, it's catching all the water. So this is and it's not draining over there. So I put in a little sump pump. That's a little bucket I have down there, and I have a sump pump in there with the floats. When the water gets up to a certain level, it kicks on, and that water carries off that pipe 115 feet to the field over there. You can see I got black pipe running from gutters. That's all from gutters, and that's why I'm digging these trenches, is so that I can put them pipes under the ground, all coming over here, and eventually I'll replace this with a rather large dry well, and have all these pipes coming into it, and I'll put my float down there, my pump, and then this pipe will be covered up. All these trees, you see some of the trees marked with an X. They're marked for death. They're coming down, and then I'll pull the stumps up, and then I'm going to build up. I'm going to take this land and just build it up about 5 feet. 5 feet deep, all the way to where it hits that bank over there, and that way I can have a nice level yard. And actually, I'm going to build a big metal building back here, maybe a 30 by 50 or something like that. I like to keep my tractor in there, my backhoe, my truck, my boat, my motorcycle, all the things that a man needs. He needs a place to put it. So that's the plan. So we're working on water right now. If we can control the water, we can do some more stuff. This little backhoe, I got it for Harbor Freight, and I upgraded a few things. It came with a 9 horsepower motor. I swapped it out for a 13 horsepower electric start. Welded me a little battery tray right there. I bought an extra set of wheels and axles, so that I wouldn't have to take the rear wheels off. And I mounted those little stands there that they slide into. And these stands, they serve double duty. When they're not holding the tires, I take those outriggers off, and the outrigger that comes out from the red part actually slides over this, and then the actual outriggers will slide into it. So everything is housed and warehoused on the machine. I don't have to throw anything in the back of a truck and haul it out. My outriggers and my extra wheels, everything's self-contained. Now I did upgrade the pump. That's a Salami 4.3 or 4.5 gallons per minute. So it pushes a little bit more. And when I installed that, I replaced the hose that's going to the control valve and the hose and the return hose coming to the filter into the tank. These are 3/8-inch lines. The regular hose is a 1/4 inch. These are 3/8. And I wanted to have a little more fluid going to the valve body so that, I was hoping that I could get a little bit more action out of those controls. But, and I get a little bit, but not much. And it's not so much the pump size that restricts, your movement of your cylinder so much as it is this valve body. It's a cheap valve body. Like DR makes a little machine like this, and they have an optional 2 joystick controls that you can get. And I'm hoping one day Harbor Freight will too. And these things, for me it's difficult because I'm used to the 2 lever, 2 joystick. And these 4, they're really, I'm always pulling the wrong lever out of habit. So it'd be nice, and I might one day change those out, with a 2-stroke, with a two thing. But of course, I have to change out all my hoses probably, because the other one was Prince, and it'll be a SAE fittings, and these are all metric, who knows? But yeah, this little thing has worked out pretty good. I like it, and I've got the mechanical thumb on there. I actually got the thumb part off right now, but that thing this little bugger's strong. I've picked up, you see them old water trees over there. They just suck up water like a camel, and they're just and I picked up a big one, to get it off the ground with this little backhoe, so I could use my chainsaw and cut it up and get it off the ground. So it's a strong little backhoe. And now, you got the main spar right here. It's a hollow tube that goes from the back all the way. That's your main spar. And right in the back, it came with a little, probably about a 10-inch or 11, 12-inch counterweight back there. And the counterweight weighs about 54 pounds. Well, I took that counterweight off, and I ran 3 2-inch 5-foot steel rods through here. And so it goes from the back to the front. And those steel rods weighed about 54 to 56 pounds apiece. So that was about 160 pounds, 150, 160 pounds or whatever, spread out through the entire machine. So all your weight's not in the back, it's throughout. And that really helps. All these little things, the bigger engine, a little more weight, the battery, a little bit more weight, the wheels, a little bit more weight, adds more weight so that when you extend this arm and you reach out and you scoop up a hefty bucket of dirt, it eliminates the tendency of it to want to bounce on you. But anyway, I took that counterweight and I put it on a 5-inch receiver tube and welded it. So like this I can take off. And then I put the little 5-inch with the counterweight on. So that gives me another 56 pounds in the rear if I really need it for the front. But I like doing this because, I can take this off, and it just makes it a little bit more difficult for someone to hook up and run off with it, without a receiver hitch. Someone that wants to steal something, they're going to get it regardless, but why make it easy? But anyway, it's been I've had it for about a year now, maybe just shy of a year. The first set of valves I got weren't any good. I'd pull back to raise the boom, and it would drop first, and then it'd catch and go up. So they sent me another one and put the new one on, and it worked fine. No glitches on it. I did bend one cylinder. I bent this cylinder. I had to order me another one. One thing you have to mind, like I dig up a lot of stumps, and some of these trees have some big roots, especially some big old pine trees. So when you try to reach out and break them, you just got to make sure you fully extend your boom out, everything, just stretch it out. And then, your power is in your bucket. When you curl that bucket, that's where your power is. And that's what you use to rip roots. This has got kind of an edge on it right there. So that helps. But if you try to break a root or pull up something too heavy with this thing extended out, it's going to warp. It's going to bend on you. And you're going to know it because it's going to scream at you, when it tries to go in and out. And these things are about $120, which that in itself, it's kind of expensive, but the main thing is, I think it has to come, a lot of times it has to come from China, so you got to sit on it and wait for a while. So yeah, you have to learn how to use it, so you have to be conscious about what you're picking up or what you're working with this bucket. And if it's something heavy, retract this in, and you retract this in by extending this thing out, laying it out flat and reaching out and then curling that bucket to break something. This is your travel pin, you take, and it goes up through there. When I first got it, I hooked it up, and of course it bent straightway, because I couldn't remember which way to push or pull these things to get it. You don't have a whole lot of room there. So once you get this put in with your pin, it's not a whole, right here actually, it goes right there, and you can see it's bent. Woo-hoo. It takes up pretty good bit. So there's no room for error. You got to know exactly, do I go down or go up, to get some slack on it to get it off of that thing. But yeah, I miscalculated. I pushed when I should have pulled or something, and that thing bent. I could heat it up maybe and beat it up, but I just turn the motor on, turn the engine on, raise it up, and I pull it where I want it, and then I cut it off. I don't even bother with it. But so you may find the same thing. These little things here are kind of weak. I bent one over I think I bent that one over there. It kind of bends back. Probably wouldn't be bad if you can weld, is to weld you a gusset underneath here to help hold that down. In fact, it wouldn't be bad to come in here and beef up these welds, because this is, especially around through here, maybe get you a gusset or something right through here and beef up back here. Anywhere, if you can weld, if you can, beef it up a little bit, put you some more steel in there, because that's your pressure point right there and down there. These things are expensive. If you have to replace this here and that, they're pretty expensive if you get it through Harbor Freight. I was thinking when I ordered it, I said, well, I'm just going to have me an extra set made, locally. But see, this is not, the steel is not the same size as the steel you find here in America. This is actually larger diameter than what we have here. So I don't know how you would make something up like this locally without rigging something up, either adding to it, skinning it out with some thinner stock to fill in there to reduce the slop. I don't know, but it's I guess they use what they have, and what they have really isn't, the standards of their steel and our steel is way different. Our stuff here is a lot stronger, but, the sizes are different, so, you're out of luck there. This here, my cylinder had a ridge, and it was catching on this thing right here. So I just took my cutter and I just cut it down. I said, well, it's no big deal. It's chipping that off. I said, well, it's catching. So I just got the cutter and just cut that off. And that eliminated that problem because, this thing kind of wiggles back and forth a little bit as you're pushing or pulling. And as it was doing, it was catching that. So when I bought this too, I went ahead and ordered, I ordered extra parts. I ordered an extra kingpin in there, boom pin. I ordered extra pins like this, and I figured it'd be nice to just go and have in case it ever, wears out. I have the part to replace it. I ordered extra filters too when I got it. So I got some extra things if I needed it. But the little pins that come with it, they're kind of like angled. See, if you use that, it's going to wobble out this hole right here. So you go to Tractor Supply, I did, or you can go to Lowe's sells just cheaper at Tractor Supply, and you get the straight pin. And that'll save you from wobbling this out as bad, because that angle thing is just, you don't want to use that. And on some of these places, like right here, you get a cotter pin that goes in there, but I just got these little rings right here because it just makes it easier when I want to take this out and grease it or clean it and grease it. I can just pull that pin, and you get that at Lowe's, and that makes it a lot easier instead of using that cotter pin. Oh, let's see. One of the things I'm going to do is, this is a Lineville. I think it was an 18-inch is what I determined worked best with mine. That mechanical thumb. It pivots right here. I took it off because as I was digging this trenches, I noticed this thing was like I had it pinned up here. And it comes down like this. It rotates here and it comes down, and then you brace it off in one of these holes. Your teeth would come down. And but some little joker, one of these little boys that run around here from time to time, I think got wise and pulled that pin out. There's no way it can fall out. And I think one of them little jokers pulled it out and thought it was funny to hide it. So, well, I got to go find it. I don't know where it is, buy a new one. But what I want to do is, this is great for digging, but sometimes, when you got, dirt piled up, it's hard to pick dirt up in this. If you don't have a loader, then that makes it difficult. But if you take this down, and get you a plate and weld you some rings on the back that you can hook it to the back of that mechanical arm. And I thought about putting, and then bolting me a 3/4 inch piece of plywood or something on it. And this, in other words, you got it maybe just a little bit larger than this bucket right here and as deep. And that way you could actually, it's like a 4-in-1 loader bucket. You actually trap the dirt in it. This stays down, and you just curl this dirt, and it traps your dirt, and you can pick it up and put it in your wheelbarrow. That's one of the things that I want to do with that mechanical arm, so I can pick up a pile of dirt, and load it up. And that would be a useful, handy thing. I also probably weld me. I'm gonna probably get me like one of them snow plow type blades at about maybe 36 inches, 48 inches long, and then weld me some sort of connection like this on it, because they have a slight curve in it. I don't, that would be great to use to dredge out a ditch. You're just trying to pull the dirt out. I mean, there's lots of little things you can do with this Harbor Freight backhoe if you put your mind to it. You know, if you don't have any other way to do it, this thing here you can come up with a lot of little gadgets to make it more useful. Okay, well, that's it.